Panton?
Yes.
Panton. Okay. Because I've been saying it wrong a lot.
That's
and
okay.
They look at me like, what the fuck?
It's all right.
You
It's
work
all right.
at the store. So here we are recording. Sucio Talk. Monique Feybesse. Monique de Feybesse. Tarts de Feybesse.
A lot of Feybesse.
All the Feybesses. Thank you for joining me. We are on the somewhere in the building.
In New York.
In Panton, in New York. What's up? What are you doing here in New York City? Let everyone know.
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be back in New York. It's been a long time since I cooked last in New York. But I've been here for the past week. Last few nights, I've been at the James Beard platform.
Okay.
Hosted by Feybesse-Oakland. So we did a collaboration with Feybesse-Oakland.
Good
and
for
some
them.
Chefs. Yeah, some chefs from there. Chef Anthony from Popoka.
Yeah.
Chef Adiem from Mela Bistro, Ethiopian food.
Yes.
Killer. So everyone has just done something awesome, something powerful.
Yeah.
So it's a real nice mix for Feybesse-Oakland.
How long you guys been working on that? Like, how long does it take to
gosh.
build that?
It's fast.
Okay.
I mean, so we knew we were going to New York about like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but the menu came quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally like, okay, what do you want to do that's going to accentuate each other's dishes? And we were like, okay, everyone's dish is pretty powerful, or their flavors in general, Ethiopian,
Yeah.
Salvadorian, French. But we were like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's just up the spice, up whatever we do. And it worked really well. We had a media dinner 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
It was about like 80 people, 70, 80 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and then last night was 70 as well. So, I mean, in that little kitchen. But it was good. It was good.
Did you guys come prepped out or just?
Oh, my God, I come prepped out. You don't want to prep here.
No,
you
you
want to
don't.
just
You
enjoy.
wanna have fun.
I
Yeah.
flew with everything. I mean,
Yeah.
no. After doing a lot of dinners, like traveling and everything, you learn to just bring all your stuff.
Yeah,
from
buckle
home,
down and bring it.
Yeah, you don't want to be worrying about like, sourcing stuff here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Putting that pressure on the local sous chef. They want sea buckthorn.
Oh
my
God! Oh my God! That's geranium there. That's Copenhagen. I get that. I
had a fucking modest Amaro from Poland come, and he was like sea buckthorn juice. And I was like,
Oh, no, we're not in Copenhagen.
you
bro.
call fucking Peter at Pat Gourmet, and he's like, oh, hi. No, we don't have that.
Frozen. Maybe they have it in my frozen.
Maybe. I hope they just keep it on plus now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's enough chefs.
Who wants sea buckthorn?
Yeah, trained in the Nordic,
Yeah.
that like, I feel like there's a few Nordic restaurants.
Yeah.
And I mean, they didn't last very long, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so platform by JPF. How's the bakery going? Tarts de Feybesse.
Tarts de Feybesse is wonderful. It's now we have about 7 months down, 6-7 months down, and we're crushing it.
Okay.
I mean, we're crushing it in the point where we've only expanded, not by space, but by team,
Yeah.
by products. So we offer maybe about 35 different options now at the bakery on weekends. And people start lining up at 8:30. We open at 9. And I mean, that's really what you want, right? You don't want to have any waste. So we're selling out by 1 or 2, usually close at 4:30. So
Oh, really? Okay.
Wednesday, Thursdays are obviously a little slower because, the workforce and everything.
Yeah.
But we still par it out to where we do sell out every single day. So I think that's the dream. That's the dream.
Hell yeah,
that's
it is.
You just want people to come, and people are coming, and they come from far. So we're not only a neighborhood restaurant, but we are a destination restaurant. I mean, we're not a restaurant, we are a bakery. But we are a destination bakery where people actually come from afar to fly in to taste what we have to offer, because there's no competition. I mean, we have great bakeries in the Bay Area, killer lamination products coming from all over, but I don't think we have that patisserie kind of feel that you would find in Paris or Europe, or even you can even find it here in New York, but we don't have that in the Bay Area. There's a few spots, but French Filipino cuisine is something very different, and I think it's being well receptive.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Filipino culture is having like its renaissance right now.
I hope so.
There's a lot of chefs, representing their culture a lot more, doing pop-ups. Harold Villarosa.
Oh, and that's my
You know
boy.
what I mean? Yeah. So it's like that and Caribbean food
Yes.
are really on the come up.
And
right
you know
now.
they have very similar flavors.
Yes.
Very tropical flavors.
I've always said the Filipinos are the Puerto Ricans of Asia.
Well, yes. No, that's some real shit right there. Yes.
straight
No.
up.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, when I saw the guayaba downstairs, the lamination on that, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our flavors.
Yeah.
Plantains, coconut. I mean, we even have Filipino rum. You know, like it's killer.
Ooh, Filipino rum.
Yeah, it's killer.
All right, I gotta try that.
Yeah, you do. I'll bring you a bottle.
Hell yeah, chef.
Next time,
okay. Well, you know, here on Sucio Talk, we take it all the way back. Where were you born?
So I was born in San Francisco Bay Area.
Sick.
San Francisco.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a Giants fan.
I am a Giants fan. I used to live right across the street from Candlestick, the original park.
Okay.
In Cow Palace. The original Warriors.
Cow Palace? That was the park?
No, so Candlestick is a park right in San Francisco, and that was where, you know, the Giants used to play. And then Cow Palace was where the Warriors used to play. So everyone was in the city, and it was it's like I was right there.
Bro, they played at the Cow Palace?
Yeah, they played at the Cow.
The last thing I seen at the Cow Palace was
a weed
rodeo.
expo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that used to be a baseball stadium. I mean, a basketball stadium.
I mean, you walk around the hallways and you see like pictures of Hulk Hogan and shit and like boxers.
I
and like
know.
they've definitely
Crazy.
Damn, I wonder what happened to that place, you know? And like
Well, it's just too small.
Right.
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 You know, so
I think they should bring it back. I think like, you know, Bad Bunny should do a show at the Cow Palace.
Hey, you know,
Let's see what
I don't know.
happens.
I don't know what would happen there. Might get robbed or something.
There you go. So you being in San Francisco for so damn long, like how do you view the city now versus what you saw growing up?
Very different. And I can say with the fact that I saw the most difference when I moved back from Europe. And that was in 2014, I would say, around that time.
Yeah.
2014, 2000 to 2016.
Yeah.
Just coming back and being like, what happened here? I think it's politics, man. You don't have to talk about politics here,
No, that's all good.
but I mean, like, something went wrong.
Right.
Something went wrong to the point where it wasn't as friendly. It wasn't as clean. It wasn't as like, hey, let's just go, you know, grab something easily. I think something really changed there in the dynamic of living there versus people coming in and just, you know, taking over.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
The tech space. I mean, at the end of the day.
I love it. I mean, I'm for it because obviously it brought money into the city. It brought people, you know.
Those are your guests, you know.
Those are our guests.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are appreciating what we do, and yes, they do have the financials to support that.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think there's certain aspects where they got lost in terms of the tax money, in terms of who is taking care of the city. And I think that's where people have to really look at, like, what is our city doing, or what is our government doing in order to make our city clean? Because when I travel to different cities now, which I have in the past, you know, couple of years, I'm just doing traveling dinners.
Yeah.
I see the difference immediately. Why is there no homeless in New York City? I mean, okay, there is.
There is, yeah.
But they're not abundant.
They're not in hordes.
They're not everywhere.
Yeah.
They're not in hordes.
sure.
There's not. Yes, you guys have garbage piling up, but like that's what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
It's organized in a way where it's not just supposed to be thrown on the floor.
Right.
Like what is going on? We have so much money in San Francisco. Why are we encouraging this? Why are there homeless camps? You know, and that's
sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, there's probably more money to be made with these people struggling than there is not. You know, and like you look at these people that work for nonprofit homeless organizations.
Sure.
Their salaries over $200K a year. So it's like, how are we? Do you think that person wants less homeless people?
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking
no,
not.
I mean it's again, it comes back with allocating those funds because we all want to help those people.
Yeah.
We all want them to get help in some sort of way. But who is regulating the numbers and who is regulating what they're getting and why they are getting it? Are they just giving this out, which they are? And that's where the political aspect comes in. That's where you can say whatever you want about the numbers. Is like, hey, I helped this many people today, but is that a fact, or who's overseeing that?
For sure. And honestly, when I look at you opening in Oakland, like at this point, it's fucking brave to do that. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Even Jeff deals with it all the time. You know,
Jeff
he's
deals
just
with it. We are in a different part.
Yeah, it's like people, you know, smashing your window just for nothing. You know, they don't even fucking steal anything half the time.
I know. And I can say now that I've been there for the past, you know, however long, it's getting better. Mm-hmm. And I do see that difference. And I feel the uplifting of the community. Yeah. People are happy that we're there. We are in a good neighborhood, obviously, but there's so much support. And I think because Oakland is getting busier, there's less break-ins because it's not like the pandemic where there was just nothing to do or nobody to see you break in something. Right. You know what I mean? Like people will actually see someone break in, which I'm not saying there's not. It's just that there's less. Mm-hmm. And I think it's about taking precautions as well. Mm-hmm. So when we were planning to move in and we signed our lease, we talked to our landlord and we were like, hey, you know, maybe, you know, we really want to move in here. There's some break-ins around, you know, how can we feel safe? Right. And so our landlord was like, hey, we're going to put in security gates for you. Mm-hmm. You know, just having these honest talks with a landlord who actually really cares. Yeah. And who has the financials to actually help you, not invest, but just to help you, help them. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, you're helping them. You know, that's a really important talk that you have to have. And for them to support you like that is incredible. So thank you, Holland Partnership. Fuck yeah. Yeah, badass, they are amazing. Baby. Yeah.
Badass. And so when you were young, what were your interests? Did you cook at all or were you sports?
Yeah. So no, and I did sports. Okay. I know. Okay. So when I was young, I loved cooking with my grandma and my grandpa. Mm-hmm. With my grandpa and my dad. Not my grandma.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So in my family, the men cook, and they cook very well. Mm. So I always say I learned how to taste from my grandpa and my dad, and my work ethic from my mom. Right. So killer combo. But I learned how to taste with Filipino cuisine. Mm-hmm. I probably didn't have a beat till I was like 18. Or rhubarb. I didn't know what a fucking rhubarb is, you know? I think in culinary school, I was like, oh my God, what is this? Yeah. But again, learned how to cook Filipino cuisine and how to eat that. And that's very essential to what I am as a chef now. Mm-hmm. And then what I used to do when I was little, I used to play sports. So I know it's really strange. I'm 4'11", but I used to play basketball. Okay. Yeah. That was the number one. Yeah.
What position?
I was number one. Okay. Yeah. That was point. That's crazy. I know. I am a good shot. I have a really good shot. Okay. I have to say that.
They're like, pass the ball to Monique. Yeah. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
But it's so much fun. I love playing basketball. Yeah. So that was me growing up, and then I played tennis later on. So I'm a sports person. Yeah. I'm very competitive. Okay. So that's where the fire comes from.
And so what was your first job?
Oh my God. Do you want to know my first job? Yeah. So embarrassing. Everyone's first job has nothing to do with what they do. Yeah. I was a receptionist at a nail salon. Oh. At a high-end nail salon.
Okay. There you go.
So funny. I absolutely hated it. I'd be looking at the clock forever. Okay. Isn't that so weird?
You know what's funny about that is I used to work at this shit job in a warehouse packing things for As Seen on TV.
Okay. And I would watch the clock. Oh my God. Okay.
And so I remember when I started working in kitchens, I remember not looking at the clock. And that was like a big turn on for me. I was like,
I like it here.
I don't care about how long I'm here for.
And it moves fast.
Yeah, for sure. And I think doing shitty jobs also helps you cope when cooking is shitty. Like, you know, when you got to shuck the 4 cases of peas or whatever it is, and you're like, please.
Yeah, it's like your alone time, though. Exactly. It's your reflection time on like what you fucked up wrong in the day. So I like that. But I mean, a hostess and a receptionist. But my nails were nice.
There you go.
And then I started cooking, and then my hands got fucked up.
Yeah. So how long after that did you start cooking? First job at 16, I want to say.
Yeah. So I went to the California Culinary Academy at the age of 17. So not so long after. Wow. I finished school early, and I already knew that's what I wanted to do. Okay. So I went to a college preparatory school, and so my parents, my mom and my grandma were so mad at me when I told them I wasn't going to apply. Yeah. I told them, I was like, hey, going to go to culinary school. And they were like, fine, you want to do that? You got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll scrunch together money, take that horrible interest, loan, and just do it up. So that's what I did.
How was CCI? Like, what was the structure
CCA
like?
was very similar to CIA.
Okay.
So it was the private school. I mean, like, it is what it is. You get what you pay for in terms of, you get what you put in, right? So you can pay all this money, but if you're not really interested in it, you're not going to learn anything.
Exactly.
I had a great experience because that's just what I knew I wanted to do. But I don't really know of anyone in my class who really went as far.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
In this industry. And I think that can speak to any culinary school now, right?
Definitely. Did you have an internship during that time?
Yeah. So my internship was at a private golf club.
Oh.
It was at a Jewish golf club, and you know what? I learned my basics over there, and they were killers. So we did prime rib. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I learned how to cook meat over there. It was almost like I wanted to be like TK, where he worked at a private yacht club as his first job.
Yeah.
So I always compared it to that, and I was like, fuck, I learned how to make all the basics there, and it was solid. I worked there for like a year, and then I went on to the Michelin star kitchens, and then I never looked back. Yeah.
What was your first Michelin experience? And when you got this job at the Michelin place, did you know what a Michelin star was?
No, I didn't. But I knew that I wanted to work for a high-end place, and so this was. We didn't have a star yet. It was called Madeira in Menlo Park. So we got 1 star with an opening, and it's at Rosewood. So it's a very high-end
the
place.
hotel?
Yeah, Rosewood Hotel in
Holy
Menlo Park.
fuck!
Yeah,
Okay.
so I opened it up.
They were looking for an executive chef for a long time.
They were.
Yeah.
They
Did they
offered
find
me.
one?
They offered me a position later on, but I mean, like, it's obvious.
Right.
I can't pay enough, but
For sure. Yeah, that's like a big ass job.
it's amazing though. The property's incredible.
Yeah.
No, I love that place, but it's a special place.
Yeah. Who was the chef there when you were?
Peter Rudolph.
Peter Rudolph.
Yeah, Peter Rudolph, Anna Bautista. They were incredible.
What kind of
Incredible people.
food was it?
It was New American. It was
Okay.
it was in that. It was like, I don't even know what year was that. That was like 20. Fuck, I don't know what year that was. 2009, 2028.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
2008,
you.
2009.
We were just coming off of spherification.
Correct.
We were just
Yeah.
we were in withdrawals from fucking.
Yes, yeah, but this was like, it was still real cooking. You know, you're
for
doing
sure.
like 150 at night, like actually cooking.
Yeah.
He wasn't really into this verification. He was actually like, we're gonna
Let's
cook this.
go.
You're gonna
Yeah.
season this to order.
Yeah.
Like it was real shit.
That's badass.
Yeah, and then like I learned how to, not move my ass because I already learned how to, but just in terms of operating at a high level. And, working how many saute pans at the same time. I learned the grind over there. That makes sense.
Learn how to be an octopus.
Yeah, yeah. No, for real. It's
go.
awesome. Yeah.
And how long did you work there?
I worked there for 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
Yeah, so I moved up the ladder there. And then I helped open some bistros and restaurants after that in the Bay Area.
For
And then,
the same group or?
no, for a different person.
Okay.
And then he worked at Madeira, so I helped him out for like a year.
Got it.
Just opening up his
Are those
stuff.
are those places still around?
They're not bakeries, they're restaurants. I'm a savory chef, actually.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm saying the restaurants that you helped open.
No.
during that time.
Oh, they are around, but they're not under the same chef.
Okay,
if that
got
makes
it.
sense.
Okay.
And then I became the sous chef at Massa's. So Massa's is I would even say it's a legendary restaurant in San Francisco. It's like it was under Gregory Short when I was there. So that was one of the original sous chefs of the French Laundry in that generation. So
Yes.
that was probably one of the last white tablecloth places in San Francisco. So that had a 1 star, and so I was the sous chef over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
Dope.
I loved it. And unfortunately it closed because nobody wanted to pay for that. It was the end of that era. Like, the Ritz, the black and white room
Yeah.
with Ron Siegel, things like that. That's when that area kind of changed and we all went to New Nordic. So that's when I moved to Copenhagen after.
Just moved to Copenhagen?
Yeah.
Have you been reading up on these restaurants or like?
Yes.
Okay.
And I only wanted to work at 2 restaurants. And so I I booked a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone in Europe. I think that's what makes my story really special is because I didn't know anyone. I was just like this small person who knew how to cook.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to work there. I want to work at Geranium, and I want to work at Indewolf.
Okay.
And I want a job. Yeah. I don't want to just stodge and pick fucking flowers. You know, like I wanted a job, and I got the job.
Where'd you work first?
I only worked at Copenhagen in Geranium.
Geranium. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was gonna work in Indewolf, but something happened with their kitchen where it was like they had to do last minute renovation. So I was like, it doesn't work with my timeline.
Right.
And so I did the trial. It was like a a few week trial in Copenhagen, and so just going up against a ton of people, and it was 2 stars at the time. It was awesome.
How many people were going for that job?
A lot.
What was the vibe in that kitchen? Was it like
killer,
cutthroat,
but I mean, like it was very familial.
Okay.
At one point we had 15 cultures in the kitchen.
Wow.
It was incredible. Such a special place.
Good staff meal.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, like with them, we had no budget on staff meal. We were eating like venison for staff meal. It was so stupid. Like honestly, it's so dumb when I think about it now. I'm like, oh my God, we just didn't even care. Like. And
I mean, at that point, it tells me that, good staff meal, good service.
Sure.
But like doling out that much money for that kind of thing and having venison for staff meal, I think is a little bit of a motivator.
It is. And you know what? We were one of the first adopters of the 4-day work week. Like we'd work like 16, 17-hour days.
But 4 days.
But we'd be off, for 3 days.
God.
And so there was no excuse that you were not ready to perform at a high level. There's no excuse. You had to be ready. And if you weren't ready, you couldn't make it. Like it was awesome. So very different than like working in Paris or something like that.
What was the makeup of the menu there?
It was
like tasting
menu.
But how many courses?
Oh my God.
26.
Fuck yeah. I mean, no joke. And like when it was a VIP, it was like 30 or something. So long.
How long was the service?
3 hours.
Oof.
Yeah. But it was quick. I mean, like it was Nordic cuisine is very different. You're not really, you're cooking, but I mean, like everything's pretty much ready. But it's about the mise en place, because if you know anything about Geranium, the technique, it's really high because he's all about the Bocuse d'Or. So it's a super high technique place, and all the details really come in the mise en place. So very different from French cuisine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how long did you work there?
I only worked there for a year. Okay. Only because my visa.
Visa, yeah, that's usually what happens.
And I always tell people, if my visa did not run out, I'd still be there right now. I'd still be there right now. And like we did a lot of, I wasn't married at the time to a European, so it was very hard for an American to like keep that. And I remember like Rasmus, he was the chef, he really tried to help me out, with try to get a lawyer or whatever, just the Danish government is so strict.
They definitely are, yeah.
It's terrible. But I mean, which government is not strict? Right. When you need to get like stuff done like that, and they're one of the worst. But amazing time, and so it just led off to me working in New York for a little bit. That's it.
Okay, and so you came back to New York. Where'd you work?
At Atera.
Okay.
At Atera when it was under Matthew Leitner. And so I only worked for a little bit because I had to move to Paris.
Okay.
And then I had to move to Paris. I got married. And
so you had already met your husband at this point?
In Copenhagen, yeah.
Right, so you met him at Geranium.
Yeah. So then I left Atera. I wish I could have stayed there longer, but that just wasn't the worst. But anyways, I ended up working for Leitner later on and helped him open in Napa later on. So it was fine. I still made the best relationships here in New York. So,
right.
But I remember when I moved here, I was like, damn, these cooks are cutthroat.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck about anything. Like they just wanted to work. They wanted to make it the highest level. And I was so motivated by that.
Yeah.
So killer.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of any other places that create cooks like here. Because they are just like in it. Especially, and I'll say this, like you don't get paid very well here.
No.
Like I was paid pretty well in California.
Yes,
for being, a cook and a 3-star. Like it wasn't bad, but bro, here
You gotta grind.
God damn, yeah, you gotta have 2 jobs.
I'll eat the pizza all day because it's just so cheap.
Literally.
You know, you know. I mean, just I can't. I remember like I'd be like, God, I used to live in Bay Ridge, and I'd have to take the metro, right? And I remember we'd work really long hours, probably like 16, 17 hour days. And I remember it, you know, just in the snow, it'd be so, you know, hard and lonely, you know, and like, but it was worth it when I couldn't wait to get to service because I didn't want to deal with it at home. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to just be back. Yeah. And like just the whole mentality of just wanting to work and just being around the best. It was something else. You know, I didn't have my husband here, you know, just to lean on or whatever like that. But again, when I went to New York, I like staged at some of the best restaurants, and Atera was the only one I wanted to work at. You know, I got the job in all of them, but I was just like, Atera, that's where it is.
What other places did you stage at? I
staged at EMP, and then at the time I did Paula Brandt's place as well. And then, no, it was at the other one. Oh, my God, how can I remember? It was this newer one. It was the newer one. Yeah. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember. And then I went to Bethany. And I loved it there. So if it were me, it was up to Atera or Bethany. And I loved Atera. It was smaller. It was I don't know. It wasn't as like EMP where it's just like so huge. You know what I mean? Like there's so many cooks. Like I didn't want to work in that anymore. I wanted to be in somewhere where it was more honed. Yeah. And more like individualized, like for the chef, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think. There was a lot of restaurants at that time doing great things, but there was very few who were like, oh, that's this chef. Yeah. And I think Leitner and Atera were like...
Yeah, he had his own style.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It was his own identity.
You're
and
going
he still
to work
does.
for him, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like
Killer.
EMP, like...
they were already great.
Yeah, they were already great, and like... You're not really working for whom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're working for whoever the CDC is.
No, Leitner was already there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he was there.
So you moved to France.
I moved to France.
And where you go work there?
I worked at Le Doyen. Le Doyen is, we took over the team. Yannick Galeno, if you know who Yannick Galeno is, he took over Pavilion Le Doyen from another 3-star. So obviously you start from 0. And we had 3 stars within 6 months. Okay. Yeah. So
3 stars within 6 months?
Yeah.
The fuck?
I know, it's craziness.
What do you think got the 3 stars? Obviously the food, but like what about the food? Like
it's technical, obviously. It's real French cuisine. Right. But it's a very different mentality. The cooking there and the team there is so crazy.
Do you think that having
it's Yannick Galeno, right? Yannick Galeno always has 3 stars anyways. But, he's just one of the best chefs in the world. How many stars does this guy have now? I can't even count them. Right. It's just ridiculous. So you're going to operate on a high level. But to take over a kitchen with the old cooks from the old kitchen, that's a different mentality. Exactly. I was like the stupid American, you know what I mean? Like who didn't speak French, who couldn't understand it. And then so you have no choice but to learn, right? You have no choice but to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
They were like, put the chemicals out. You were like drinking it.
I know.
Fuck you.
No, but it's just so you have to learn.
And so you're like newly married, like at this point that you're working there?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Like
my husband's French, so he understands that. Like his mentor is Yannick Galeno.
Okay, so he was there as well.
He worked for Yannick Galeno at his older restaurants. His mentor of like 8 years. And he also worked for Ducasse in Monaco. Okay. Yeah, so like he has a really high resume.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how long did you work there?
I worked there for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of your 2 years, because as I'm talking to you, I hear 2 years a lot. Is it sort of like something that you set in stone when you start there? Like, I'm going to do 2 years here, then I'm going to bounce? Or at the end of like a year and a half, you're like, I think it's time to go?
No. I definitely wanted to stay in France. But I think I saw another opportunity to go back to California. Yeah. I also wanted to start a family. And I didn't see that happening in Paris.
Okay.
I didn't
Why
see
not?
that. It's almost like, it's almost like New York where it's very small, you know, like where it's very like contained, right? And I think I could obviously start a family here in New York, but I think Paris is very, it's very compact. And so where we were in a great area. We were in the Republic, but we didn't have that support where I could still follow my dreams, and like I didn't see that happening there. I didn't see it continuing where I could have my own restaurant. I didn't have the funds, obviously. I mean, we worked for shit, you know, before. So moving back to the Bay Area was a plus because I could start a family. I had family nearby to actually help me with that. And the opportunity and the pays was so much better. Yeah. I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, especially in California. 100%. Yeah. And I think I really wanted to find a position where I could still follow my dreams and feed my ego, but actually learn more and continue my education in the culinary arts. Okay. In a completely different way. It doesn't have to be about cooking. It can be about business. Yeah. And I think that's just the best way to go. Okay. Yeah. And was it hard to convince Paul to go with you? No. Okay. He was like, fucking, I'm out of here, bro. No, Paul was definitely, he's a rider for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We turned down a lot of positions. He turned down great positions in Dubai, you know, just to come to the city. And it worked out. He worked for Corey Lee afterwards for about 3 years, you know, and learned a different mentality other than the European. So that was a great learning experience for him. Gotcha. Again, very different. Yeah. You know. And when you moved out back to San Francisco, where did you go? I opened Nine Bark. You opened Nine Bark in Napa. Yeah. So originally, actually, I wanted to work at Single Threads. And that was the first year that they opened. I was like, Paul, I want to go back. I want to work at Single Threads. Yeah. But and then Leitner found out that I was moving back to just maybe do that. Yeah. And so he was like, why don't you just open with me in the meantime? And so that happened, and then Single Threads opening got pushed back, obviously, because it's construction and all that stuff. Always. And then at that point, when they finally kind of opened, I got pregnant with my first son. And so then it was just like, oh, okay. Mom time. It's mom time. Yeah. And then it just all kind of fell into place. I planned to work until the end, you know, until the end of 9 months, until I had the baby. Yeah. And then 9 Bar closed. So that was a bummer. That was a bummer. But I mean, not even a bummer, but it was actually a blessing in disguise because it was like, I'm going to have my kid anyway. So, for sure. Yeah. The thing is, like, that space has a lot of history. Like, people don't know, like, Jeremy Fox, Ubuntu. I know. Like, all of that. I know. That's a fucking great position. I remember eating at Ubuntu. Yeah. A lot of people talk shit about downtown Napa, but because, you know, the French Laundry and Meadowood and, like, all these other little towns had it. But, like, bro, chefs need to understand that, like, if you're looking to, like, make a name for yourself, go to downtown Napa, motherfucker. Like, you'll get your shit. Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard in Napa. For sure. Because you're relying so much on the tourists. Yeah. On the tourist season. I mean, after harvest is done, it's like, fuck, it's cold and nobody wants to go to Napa anymore. And that's so hard. You got to rely on the locals. And that's the problem with Napa. It's like there's no neighborhood spots for people to go to and eat. I mean, it's very limited unless you want to be spending like $200 on something. You know what I mean? Come on, like you don't want to do that. No, there's no Asian food. You got to go to Tanya's Taqueria. Yeah, which is great, which is incredible. But like, how many times can you go there? I know. You know? Well, we were just talking about the pizza, and like pizzas are like $34 fucking in Yountville. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Everywhere, like, even in Oakland. Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, like Oakland has, going back to Oakland has such great food. I mean, like they really do. Incredible. Yeah. I used to like Joe's Modern Thai was bomb. Joe's Modern Sequoia Diner. Killer. Exactly. But yeah, we don't go back to Joe's Modern Time though, because Chef isn't there anymore. But I know. Other than that, well, another story. I know. This shit's crazy. Story. It happens all the time. You know, you see it all the time. I know. With chefs and the owners. Yeah, exactly. That's another conversation. Chefs are shitty business owners. They are shitty. You know, because we've just spent so much time cooking
and never learning anything else.
The financials.
No, that's why I think, culinary school needs to almost focus less on the cooking and focus more on the business.
Yeah, I didn't learn how to run a P&L until working at a management position at a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And
you're like, as a chef de cuisine at a hotel.
Like, why did this take so long?
Or why? What is the retention rate? What what is the check average? We don't learn this at the Michelin Star Kitchens. No. We learn how to cook, right?
You learn how to cook and you learn how to spend money.
Yeah, but who's coming back? And so I think even as a small business owner now, I don't have any investors, and that's a choice.
Best way to be.
Yeah.
Investors are just small banks that can call you at any time.
Yes. But I mean, some people need it.
Yeah, for sure.
I can even see in New York, your spaces are huge, like the restaurants in general. You need a lot of people to fill it. Mm-hmm. And how are you going to fill it? You need the investors, right? And
you almost need investors that don't want any return on their investment, especially in restaurants.
I think people, I'm always like, who are these people who are investing all of this? Do they know that they're not going to get a lot of money back?
Yeah.
Do they know?
Yeah. I think a lot of them do. I think it's just a matter of having a restaurant. You can say, I own this. Because after a while, when you get to a certain amount of money, it's just about flossing and being like, I have this.
Yes.
And I learned that kind of private chefing working for these millionaires who, they just compare each other.
Sure.
Oh, look at my boat. It's bigger than yours or this and that.
Yeah.
And I find that even with personal chefs. My chef worked at the French Laundry.
Oh
my chef worked here.
True.
And it's just like a big dick measuring contest.
Yeah,
and you're
that's true.
Why is this a thing? But shout out to that being a thing, because that's how you get investors that don't care about their returns.
That is true. And they pay you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get paid.
Yeah. And so it's
it's the battle though. It's the battle. It's just okay, can we survive without an investor, or can we not? Mm-hmm. And for us, we could. Mm-hmm. And so that was the best thing. We bootstrapped a lot, but you can't even tell. Mm-hmm. I think we really played it smart in terms of growing organically. Mm-hmm. And that's the way. You can't just it's not like the days where you're just okay, I want that $125 plate.
Yeah.
You really have to not sacrifice, but compromise with yourself on what you can have and what you cannot. Mm-hmm. What can you splurge on and what you cannot. Especially when you're opening up a restaurant. That's my advice I give to young people right now who want to open up, is just start small, man. Mm-hmm. Go to your auctions, refurbish your shit. They won't even know. Half the stuff in the bakery right now, you wouldn't even know is refurbished, but it's such high quality. You just got to find them. Mm-hmm. You got to spend that time. Yeah. And it's going to save you money and everyone in general. It's all about the bottom line now.
100%.
People just need to understand it's the bottom line. Half the time it's if your product's good, they're going to come, right? But if you can't produce that good product, you have to find another way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing with R&D. It's I made one.
Oh, God.
It's all right, now scale the bitch. And it's
no.
And then that's when you're fuck.
People, you see all these things on Instagram. They make this crazy laminated thing, where it's triple colored or whatever it is. So it's have you tried multiplying this for the masses?
Yeah.
It's
that's
not
difference.
impossible, but it's just you're gonna sell out quickly.
Exactly.
And at Tarts the Feybesse, we have the fruit trompe-l'oeils. We have the viral stuff, the stuff that goes viral. Those sell out every single day. And sometimes I hate the customers that are just how come you don't produce more? What do you mean you don't have any more? At 1 o'clock, what do you mean you don't have more? And I'm well,
I got children to raise. Okay.
Or just how we cannot physically produce more because you just don't have you don't have the freezer space. You don't have the molds. It's such an investment on its own. And I think that's where we get not lost, where we're just fuck, we want to expand, but we want you to experience other stuff other than the fucking trompe-l'oeils,
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's there's other shit too. Come on.
So how did you make the switch from savory to pastry?
When I was working at Nine Bark, in Napa, I was still doing long distance with Paul. And so he came home with he was there for 2 weeks and he was bored. He made this apple tart. It was in the shape of a rose. And that's our logo now. But anyways, I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. We could sell this. And like, this was before COVID where like, you know, people weren't selling shit on Instagram. Yeah. I was like, oh, let's just post it, see what people would, you know, maybe people will buy it on Instagram or something with my following. And like people bought it. Like, and I was driving over like in the Bay Area for a $20 tart. Can you move that? Do you want to buy my $20 tart? Like on my days off, like from Night Bar. You want to buy this? Fuck it. You know, like, oh, you know, that's just how the following for Tarts the Feybesse came. And then during COVID, I was the winery chef at this beautiful winery in Napa, Robert Sinsky. And so we were all scared. Everyone was scared, right? Like, what are they gonna do? You know, thank God I just had my second son, and I was on maternity leave at the time. So, but Paul was obviously he was furloughed. Everyone was furloughed. Yeah. And so we were like, what are we gonna do? And I think that's when we were like, let's just pivot. Let's just do something right now and earn whatever money to pay bills. Yeah. And so we just started slinging sourdough bread out of our house.
Fuck yeah.
I know. I mean, it was just so weird, but it was weird because people were coming up to the house in gas masks. And like, just, you know, it's so strange, but like they're just buying sourdough bread. And then it just expanded. Yeah. And then we just relaunched Tarts the Feybesse and it just turned into the entire pastry menu. Okay. And that's when we started getting big. And then it turned into a micro bakery where we expanded the kitchen. And then we had to rent out another kitchen. And then now it just turned into the bakery in Oakland. Mm-hmm. So again, we grew organically. Mm-hmm. We grew the right way. We knew when we got into this space, we didn't have to R&D as much because we knew what products would sell. Right. We knew how to rotate the menu already. Uh-huh. We knew how the service would work from the POS, from the pop-ups. So it was very, very smooth. Okay. Very smooth in what we did. So we've only just expanded.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are you looking to expand more?
Yes, I would say yes. I wouldn't go into another location, even though we've been asked to as of now, because it's only been 7 months. I'm very smart in a way where we really take big decisions, you know, with heart. We really think about them, and I don't think that's the way to go right now. Let's just make the profits, pay back the loans where we took them, and then you can really start thinking about expanding. Right. Yeah.
That's a smart way to do it because I feel like that's what happens. Pay your
shit first, man.
Yeah, to every business.
Pay your shit first.
As soon as a guy walks through the door and says, "Hey, you want to do this at the Pier 37 or whatever?" You're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." And then fucking no one likes it, and you're like, "Yeah, because people want fish and chips here." And I came in here with my expensive menu, and they don't fucking want it.
No, yeah.
Like.
You have to do the due diligence of doing your research on.
Are they going to buy it? Yeah.
Are they going to buy this? Are they going to? Yeah. And like it's Oakland. We do charge. Our prices are higher, and that's noted immediately. Like it's not New York prices, but they are high. Like you're going to pay $6.50 for. No, you'll pay $5.50 for a croissant, but $6.50 for a pan Swiss. You know, so they're higher than like something you'd get at a normal bakery, but we're not normal. Right. You're going to pay for the labor. You're going to pay for that ambiance and what you get. Yeah. And people are happy. You know, you have to especially with what's going on with inflation right now, you have to raise prices. And I think we started off in a right way where we started high because we haven't raised prices at all. We've only just actually lowered them.
That's actually so smart. And I thought about that too. Like, you know, when you start your business plan, I think it's very smart to put the staffing wages at a higher dollar rate than normal because you want to account for inflation 5 years in.
Exactly.
You don't want to be struggling 3 years into it like, no, oh, fuck, real. I got to pay people more now, like minimum wage is going up. Yeah, it's going up every year, bro.
Yeah. Like you can't, I hate it in the hotel where it was like, okay, at this point we have to have this meeting because we have to raise everyone's wages because of the cost of living. But it's like, why do we have to do that? Why can't we just account that already? Like we know that already.
You know it's coming.
It's coming. So then these people don't even have to not necessarily work harder because they know they're going to get their raise anyways. Yes. And that makes me livid. It's like, oh my God, they know they're going to get their raise. and they don't even have to work as hard. It just fucking makes me mad. It makes me so mad. Like, they expect it, but like, I mean, thankfully I have such a great team. I'm just talking about like in general, like other establishments that are larger corporations. It's like they have to pay every single time to account for that.
Well, I think there's being in a corporation for a little bit, I learned a lot about how the money works. And there's just a lot of like bank accounts with money in it, not necessarily being used, but, you know, probably saved for a rainy day. But at the end of the day, I remember I was working for this company only for a couple months, and one of the managers was like, "Oh, I got an extra bonus." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, we didn't like use this money, so they just paid us." And I'm like, "I know that's so they can get a tax break."
Yeah.
But it was like $19,000 she got as a bonus. And I'm like, "Good for you, but also like,
where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from? If they have so much extra money, like, why don't you just give everybody another $1 an hour and like have them not struggle?"
No.
You know? But that just...
Or pay for their insurance or something.
Exactly, right? And I'm just like, it just doesn't make any sense to me sometimes. And
no, you gotta take care of
the way I look at it is like, maybe I just don't fucking know. You know? Like, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes from the outside looking in, I'm like...
People will wonder immediately where that is. And I think, you know, retention rate is all about taking care of employees. Like, we pay 100% for insurance and everything.
Fuck yeah.
I know, but I think that you have to, right? You have to pay them for them to stay. And that's how you attract such a killer team where we don't have to retrain. And all the people who are on my team or on our team, they've been there since the beginning. And the only reason why there's any differences is because we've expanded them.
Right.
Yeah. So I think, again, money like that should be just accounted for in the right way. Just back into benefits or whatever,
for sure.
401ks, whatever. Because I didn't have that when I was younger. Did you? I didn't know what a 401k. I was like,
insurance?
I'm paying into a 401k. Who's like, what do you mean this is matched? What is that? You know, I wish people taught us that. And again, going back to culinary school, they should have taught us that. Yeah. You know,
get your 401k, savings accounts. I feel like during COVID, we always do a lot of stuff for other people. People are in trouble, we go out and feed them.
Yeah.
You know, police department, fire department, whatever it is. We never do anything for ourselves.
Yeah, like what about us?
Like, where is the universal savings account for all the small businesses in an area?
True. That's
the government's not coming for you. They're not going to help you. So it's like, I feel like Oakland itself, you look at it and you're like, every restaurant should pay into a fund that then helps like whatever place is struggling. And it just is what it is. Everybody gets a little piece of the pie sometimes if it is that. But then you can do more events. Yes. You can pay for people's broken windows. Sure. And like nobody's like struggling because everybody's helping each other.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. That's like very wishful thinking.
I know. And it does need it. You know, we have such a diverse community out there. And I wish such a smart idea to have. Yeah. I need to just run for mayor of Oakland.
Dude, I'd be fucking better than Sheng Tao. I'll tell you that much. I won't steal money through the garbage company.
That's a criminal.
How does that feel? Because I know that there's a lot of like, for example, like Mr. Espresso and like Nelson always get together as a restaurant
we have
to talk about
that group, Savoir.
Yes.
And so that is very similar to the uplifting of you know, local restaurants and groups, because again, nobody's going to help us except for our own. Nobody's going to change that narrative except for us. Yeah. Because we know it better than anyone else, right? Of what's happening. And like, you can have all these news stories about what's going on in Oakland, but actually it's very vibrant. These are the good things about it. And so, they're doing such a great job. I mean, like, they're just killers.
Definitely.
And Nelson should be the mayor too.
Nelson should definitely be the mayor. I mean, he just opened a spot in San Francisco. Shout out to him.
It's fun.
Oh, have you been?
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Hell yeah.
I came after an event. I was just like super casual, and there's like these people checking you in, you know, just because like it's almost like a club. Yeah. And he was like, "Do you have a reservation?" I was like, "I promise, I have a reservation, and my name's." The guy was like, "Okay," and then I walk in, and it's like all these celebrities, just you know, decked out. I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like,
Shout
I
out
just
to
started
Nelson. He need that for sure.
You know what?
Yeah.
If anyone deserves anything,
yes,
it's Nelson.
Dude, he fucking worked. That guy works 8 days a week.
And he works for other, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, he supports everyone.
He does.
If you need help, Nelson's the way to go. I call Nelson up. I'm like, hey, like, I need a person here. Like, can you help me out? Vice versa. He's like, hey, I need some chocolates. I hate doing desserts. Like, can you help me out for Valentine's Day? I'm like, I got you, man.
Problem.
Like, whatever. I'll do anything for you, you know? And that's the support that you should get within Oakland. I do feel that, you know? I really do feel
Definitely
that.
Oakland has that for sure. I don't think San Francisco does.
No, like, I wouldn't go to, I won't say the name, but like we do work with a wine bar, and like I wouldn't walk down the street if I needed like if I ran out of milk or something. I wouldn't go into that restaurant and be like, hey, can I borrow some of your milk?
Right.
You know, like I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
You know?
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's why I started the show, because I'm like, I feel like we need a little bit more honesty.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before, like all these Michelin star chefs in the same room talking shit about each other in the same room, and it's like, why even do this?
I did this collaboration dinner with a ton of different.
Yeah.
It was like a fundraiser thing, and it was like a ton of different Michelin star restaurants, and everyone was just like all alphas in the room, and I was like, oh God, I'm just gonna let them do the service, because like it's so tiring. It's like, okay, we all know who each other is, like we all know each other.
Right.
Maybe from afar, but come on, we're just cooking, man.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be cooking for a cause. Like, why are we just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
They
this isn't
really
about.
care.
They really care.
Really care to the. It's like
so
it's like little kids on the playground. That's why I have this like theory that I don't think you change past 11 years old. You know, I think like who you are as a fucking kid is like who you kind of are always.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It's just in different like forms
yes,
as you get older, but you're still the same. Like, you know, I found myself the other day doing something, and I'm like, I have been doing this same thing for like 20 years.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, am I ever going to change that? You know? And I'm like, maybe I should think about that for a second.
Well, I think you could change for the better, obviously.
Oh,
I mean,
for
like,
sure.
Come on,
we've
all grown. Like, look at us now.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're actually making money now.
Oh my God! Thank God.
We actually can survive. I'm just like,
you can go on vacation now,
yes,
Chef. Wow.
Yeah, I can actually go on vacation. I have a team to run it. You know, that incredible.
What are some of the things that you did in New York this time around when you came by?
So I went to obviously check out bakeries. I went to Papi D'Amour, and it's such by Dominique Gansel. That was a really awesome one. I went to Cajun by Chef Jay.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've ever been, but it's literally, so it's Chef Jay. She's from Korea, like straight from Korea, accent and everything. And like she was trained in New Orleans. Ooh. So her restaurant is called Cajun.
Ah,
get it? Isn't it? But her food is killer. I mean, like she's doing jambalaya with kimchi okra.
Bro.
I mean, come on.
Bro.
It's so freaking good. She's doing brisket with grits with gochujang, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking killer. Like it's powerful shit.
Yeah. I learned a lot from Kat and John.
Oh yeah.
Working at Meadowood, and we had a lot of Korean influence on the menu.
Yes.
And it's still something that I haven't tapped into myself.
Sure.
As, you know, like to say that I cook Korean food, I don't really do that, but you
understand,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And
you can understand why.
I ate so much damn rice. John was like, "Are you sure you're not Korean?"
I can tell you their restaurant in LA.
Yeah, it's fucking fire.
It's my favorite restaurant there. Yeah. I go there every single time. Like I think at one point, Paul and I were in LA at different times, and like we were there like 3 times in 3 months, but just alone. And so like I love their food. Yeah. It's just so eccentric.
I mean, I think it's the Jewish culture that she grew up in.
Yeah.
That's why her and Chef Costel played very well together.
Yeah.
Because they had that like mutual understanding. But then her Korean flavors would like enhance, whatever we were working on. And so it was like a very simple looking food.
It is, but it was
like,
tasty.
yes,
I love it. I like if anyone recommends anything out there, I just bring them over there.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you guys got to go there. I
Okay.
mean, something special. I love it there.
We also got to hit Top Chef. What's up, Chef? Season 19 of Top
that was
Chef.
Killer. Yeah, that was fun.
So,
that was a fun one.
How did that all happen?
So Top Chef happened because it was during COVID, and Paul and I were just on our way to get some banh mi's in San Jose, and like an ad came up on my phone. Not an ad. I don't know what came up on my phone. I was like, oh fuck, the prize is like $250K, Paul. Like let's just apply just the. Because you know when you work at like Michelin star restaurants or whatever, you don't even think about that kind of stuff, right?
I actually think it's kind of stupid. You know?
Yes, I haven't watched Top Chef. It was so embarrassing. Like the interviews, they're like, "Oh, are you an avid Top Chef viewer?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. I haven't watched like Top Chef since like season 3 or something like that." And it's like
Shout out to Harold.
season 19,
season 1 winner.
Yeah.
Well, I watched that shit in the dorms at Johnson & Wales University.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But it was so good, right?
Yeah.
But then when you're in the kitchens, you don't have time for that. You don't have time to watch TV.
And it's stressful. You're already stressed out.
Yeah. So anyways, that just came out like, hey, okay, we'll just apply. And they called us back the next day to just apply to do the whole steps. And it's a whole series of things. And I didn't realize how serious it was until I started getting further down the line. And I was like, oh my God, Paul, am I really gonna like leave the kids right now? This came out as like, not a joke, but like as just like a random thing to do.
Like you gotta leave for a month.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And I had a newborn and I was like, I don't know if this is the right decision.
He's like, you better call your parents from France to come. Help out.
And my husband was just like, just do it. Like it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And like I didn't realize how serious it was gonna be until I was on. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I mean, like it's real shit. If I can say anything about Top Chef, it's real.
Yeah.
Like that. I've done Food Network. I've done whatever. Like if I could say anything, Top Chef was the real deal.
What's the structure of Top Chef like when you get there, day one? Like, what do you do? They
take your phones. I'll tell you things that like are already there.
Yeah.
Like they take everything from you. They take your ID. They take your phone.
Your ID?
They take your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like
you're pretty much with them the whole time, right?
Correct. And like if you were to go anywhere, you have wranglers. You have people to follow you around. So you're not like, it's because of the secrecy of the show, the exclusivity, where they want you to be fully immersed and fully focused on that, on what you're doing there at the time.
Yeah.
So like you have no excuses. You can't have like your recipes or anything like that. It's like you're actually cooking. Like if you were to memorize a recipe, okay, yeah, you'll write that shit down. Like especially for baking, I was like, oh my God, I can't remember shit. I need my recipe.
Right.
But like you just have to go with it. There's no recipes there, like that you can actually go back on. There's no TV, right? So it's just you.
Did you find that some of the competitors had like recipes memorized? Like,
oh yeah, hands down. And I think if I were to go back, because I've never done TV before that, if I were to go back, a lot of them were definitely more prepared than I was. And like I should have been more prepared in the way where people study the seasons, past seasons. People like memorize their shit. People did like all the extra R&D, whatever it is. I didn't do any of that because not that I didn't take it seriously, but I just wasn't prepared. I didn't know, right? And it was during like a COVID time. It was so weird. It was so weird.
I mean, I remember Maylin told me that she like trained with Voltaggio for like a couple of months before.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't have anyone. Yeah. May recommended me to go on.
Okay.
And I love May, but like I didn't know anyone other than that. And I wasn't going to be like, hey, Chef May.
Hey.
Okay. I didn't know. Like I just didn't know what was the protocol. Like, can I hit them up and ask them for advice?
Right.
Or can I not? And I found out like a lot of the competitors knew a lot of the other contestants.
Yeah.
And like, And so
that's wild.
It's wild. Yeah. It's wild. It's fair, but then it's not fair. You should have done it. I could have done my research better, but I had a great time. I mean, I made it more than halfway. I mean, I made it almost halfway, so it was good. Okay. It was good.
How
I fucked up in like the brisket challenge. I mean, I'm from California. You can't fucking make brisket.
How does it feel to get told pack your knives and go?
Oh, I can say with the fact that like I knew my dish wasn't good on that. So I was like, oh my God. But it's still so, demeaning. You know what I mean?
Do you get to see everybody again before you bounce?
Not really. Well, no.
Okay.
So you're just like, you're done.
You just say bye to people
You're
and then
done. There's Last Chance Kitchen,
Yeah.
which you have a second chance to go back on, which I do think I should have went back on in terms of like the dish that I did there. That's another story. But anyways, yeah, it's real in that way where you're like, you're done. But like everyone from that season, I keep in touch with. They're amazing. Like Chef Jay, Chef Buddha, at Huso. Yeah. Like,
well, you go through these things.
Yeah, with each other. You have Chef Luke. Oh my God, he's killer. You know? Just all these people, Chef Damar. Like, you have these relationships with them. And they only know what you go through. Yeah, because you're only with them for that month. So
what's the background, like the kitchen crew that works for Top Chef?
Yes,
like
so
the people who clean. Like, how big is that crew?
Huge. Like, Bravo Top Chef has a huge, production.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shout out to them. I didn't realize, again, because I didn't have experience in TV, like all of that is them. Mm-hmm. Like the whole production, there's a complete, like, we're just the small part.
Right.
We're just like the people who just cook for an hour and that's it. Right. Or like cook for 3 hours and that's it. There's so many people. I can't even count how many people. We're not even allowed to talk to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't talk to them.
That's crazy.
Like, isn't that crazy? Like,
you can only talk to the other Top Chef competitors?
You can only talk to the other Top Chef competitors and the people who you directly are with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Your wranglers or like your audio people or that's it. Or like your, the people who were your producers.
Right.
And that's it. Right. You can't like talk to the person on lighting or whatever it is, like. Right. Or like the kitchen crew.
And is this like a orientation you do at the beginning where they're like, this is what you can't do?
Yes. Yeah. Or it's like, they don't give you time to do it. Like you can't wander.
Yeah.
You cannot wander. You have to like stay in place.
I met this guy. He was a recruiter helping me get a job, and he was recruited to the show. It was like a dating show.
Okay.
And he's like, they use CIA tactics to like control us. And like basically these TV producers, and I'm not saying that they do this in Top Chef, but like it's the sleep deprivation, the like constant, hey, go here, hey, go here, hey, go here. So you're like, that affects the show. Do you think you're judged on anything other than food in Top Chef?
You know what it is.
Like your star power, like
I would say in anything like, why wouldn't you? Personality that comes out through your food. And if I feel like if you don't have a story in there where it doesn't really match, I feel like that shows in it anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like you can't really fake that. I mean, you could just, it's easier to come up with a story, right? Than to execute the food. But I feel like if you don't feel it, and if you don't put your personality in it, Top Chef is very, I think in any show now, they want the story. Mm-hmm. They want the story, they want the food, obviously, but like it really makes sense if it's different, if it pops, right? Because I can make a technically super French dish like chou farci or something like that, or stuffed tomatoes, but is that going to pop against, I don't know, let's say Chef Jay's jambalaya with pickled okra. Yeah. Right? Like what is more interesting? Right? That I feel like the jambalaya or the gumbo with pickled okra. Yeah. With her, with that different story. I feel like that's gonna pop more in terms of flavor wise too. Definitely. Right? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's definitely I feel like it does play a part. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Would you do it again?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hands down.
So if they have an all-stars, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like just like in general, like that whole thing is really cool. They do a good job. Okay. They do a really good job. It's not fake.
Running the bakery, do you ever feel a need for the adrenaline of a restaurant?
Yes. Yeah. And I think, and all the time, I mean, I'm a savory chef. Yeah. My husband and I are savory chefs.
What do you do to fill the void?
We do pop-up dinners. Okay. We do public dinners.
Yeah. Purposely show up late to like, we're in the shits.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know what? In the bakery, you still get that rush. I mean, like, I still, when you do service and you're about to start service, you get the butterflies. Yeah. I still get that. And I think if I don't get that, then it's like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like, oh, it's 5 minutes to go time. Like, we're about to open doors and there's a line down the block. You still get them. You know, you're still performing at such a high level. I think it's just in a completely different way. And I think, you know, if you lose that, like, what is all the point of all that experience and all the ladders we had to climb in order to get there if we were just to lose it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
such
hear
a
you.
waste.
Yeah.
Such a waste.
I feel like
I'm not just going to put out a regular, you know, pastry for you. I want to show you what I got.
Right.
And like, we used to, you know, come up with pastry fraud. You know, we were like, oh my God, are we frauds? Because we're not classically pastry trained.
Right.
But fuck that. Like, we just brought the same work ethic to this part of like the culinary arts, and it's working. Like, you have to follow rules in baking, but why not break them sometimes? You know what I mean? So that's just what it is. I think that's what makes Tarts the Feybesse really special. There's saltiness in it. There's like, we sphere shit. And people won't even know what that fucking is. You know what I mean? But we're putting that in a croissant, and people don't know. But like why are we doing this? Why are we sous videing shit in the croissant or whatever it is? Like, and people won't know that, but we know that it's gonna taste better. We know that it's gonna be technically better. Yeah. You know, you just have to really think about stuff and really just make it different your way.
Fuck yes, chef.
Yeah.
Where can they find Tarts de Feybesse?
They can find it in Oakland.
Okay.
324. Is that right? 324, 24th Street.
Aha. 224s.
Yes.
Jack Bauer.
Yeah. It's a fun one. I can't wait till you come.
Dude, I cannot wait. I need to try it. And it's so crazy how the world works that we're doing I lived in Oakland. You were also there. We're doing a podcast in New York. But that's the beauty of Sucio Talk. Like, you know, I talk to people for so long online. Yeah. And then it finally happens, and it's like, okay, we're good now, you know? And, like, the world is our oyster.
Yes.
You know, like...
And we could do it anywhere.
Exactly.
You could do this anywhere. You could do this anywhere with anyone, and I think that's what, you know, it drew me to you anyways.
Yeah, like sure.
It's so easy to talk to people, and like you said before, almost every chef is so awkward. Yeah,
yeah. I feel like they need a safe space to be them that's not Eater or Resi or... the newspaper.
The platforms, because the regular platforms.
Writers have an agenda.
Yeah.
And certain publications just like...
It's very biased.
That's what I'm saying. And then they need a certain thing from you. It's like, I don't need anything from you.
Yeah,
whatever you're willing to talk about is what we're going to talk about.
I love that.
And I just think, you know, we need more media training. We need to take it upon ourselves to create our own media versus... letting other people do that because they narrate what we do.
Sure.
So much so that fast casual restaurants became a thing. And then we all realized that they don't make money because the check averages are fucked.
Yeah, they're so low.
Yeah. And then they're trying to tell us, oh, fine dining is dead. And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, or wanting a Michelin star is not acceptable.
Sure.
You know, and it's like all those things, like fuck that, because there's kids out there that need motivation to get out of their situation.
Definitely.
And a Michelin star helps that, regardless of the politics of it all.
Sure.
You know? But like having
the
people
goals
to look up to
the goals are
is
really
important.
Hard.
You know, and it's a damn shame to sit here and say, well, we need to be egoless all the time. I'm sorry. Ego gets me out of bed in the morning.
No, yeah. And it definitely makes you want to work at such a high level. Exactly. Right? I mean, like as a person now who's doing my own business as a bakery, and then to go on to do, you know, dinners like this where I travel and I can put out dinners, like this is where it is. That's the goal, right? Like where you can do the hospitality thing at such a high level. Like that's where we need to be. But it shows people that you can do it. You can do it with a family. You can do it, you know, as fine dining as you want. You could do it as casual as you want.
Exactly.
But bottom line is it has to make money.
It has to make money. It has to be delicious. And it has to make you happy personally. Because if it doesn't.
And it has to have an identity.
Yes.
Like, and which I love here at like what you're doing here at Pantone's, like every single space that you have has an identity. With Tarts the Feybesse, it's French Filipino, and you don't really have that type of competition where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can't just be like a pizza place. It can't just be like, okay, here I'm running Italian, or like it has to identify its place, because like everything's so expensive now, you have to give people a good reason to come out.
Exactly. I think Oakland's doing a good job of that because you don't have a lot of the same spaces. You got Snail Bar. You got Burdell. You know, you have Tarts de Feybesse.
Yes.
And everyone's kind of doing
and it's close.
Different things.
Yeah,
yes.
The Ethiopian food is killer.
Oh my
you
God.
know, like, come on. Like, I didn't know what injera was.
Oh,
I didn't know what it was until Oakland.
I got one for you, chef. Injera crepe cake.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like I feel like every time I eat that,
sure.
I'm like, I would love some sweet pastry cream
Dude,
on this shit.
I'm saying but how, like, when I look at that food and the influence of what that can be and how to fuse things correctly and not just take certain dishes and mash it together, like the ideas are incredible. Like the injera, like immediately when you get it, I think of like a savory crepe.
Yeah.
You know,
For
like
sure.
like what
Soft,
the fuck?
spongy.
So good. Oh my God, Mela, Chef Adiyam was showing me the different types of teff yesterday. I was like, what is teff? Like, what is this? Yeah. But that's so cool to just learn about that. Like, even though we have all this experience, there's so much shit I don't know. She's like showing me all her spices from Ethiopia, and I'm like, I don't know what these are. Like, you think you're so good, and like, you know nothing.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you know nothing.
I mean,
she's like, look at these eyes on the injera, like, this isn't right. And I'm like, oh, I think it looks good.
I think it's delicious. Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay.
That's always been my problem is I like everything. So it's like some chefs have always been like, oh, well, you don't have like an absolute opinion, you know, because I kind of just like everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Same with
and
me.
so it's funny, like you got to compartmentalize that shit sometimes and get to a place where you're like, fuck this, I don't like this. You know, in order to form your identity as a chef.
Sure.
But I'm like, why do we have to do that?
When are we eating out just like to have fun?
That's what I'm saying.
Aren't we eating out to enjoy ourselves?
I think 50% of us do, and then the other 50% are fucking looking for shit to be like, oh, well, I don't think that this should have been this way.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, do you pay the bills here? You know? Like,
then just don't go out. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
We're here to have a good time.
Right.
Like, I think eating out now is not about sustaining ourselves anymore. It's about enjoying ourselves.
Definitely.
Because you're going to pay top dollar to eat out now.
Right.
Whether it's a pizza or not. You got to pay money. So yes, I do understand people, they want to have a good time because they're paying for it. But I mean, everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly.
Everyone makes mistakes. But
I try to...
but don't look for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're looking for it.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God. Okay, I dropped the napkin. Like, sorry, nobody picked it up. But like, come on. Like, give the person a break. It's fine.
It definitely...
Pick your own fucking shit up.
Definitely also depends how much money you're spending. Like, you know, if I'm going to a place like Single Thread, I expect perfection. Like, they better not be doing one damn mistake. But...
Sure.
However, I know the difference. So to me, it's just part of the... You know, and if I see a mistake, I'll be like, oh... You know, not like this restaurant sucks.
Yes.
But this person must be new.
But you're not going to write about it.
No, exactly. No, especially on Yelp. You know, like fucking, how are you guys with Yelp? Are you guys...
Oh, Yelp we're fine. But we do get those like shitty people who are just like, oh, I can't believe they sold out at 1 p.m. They should have made more. 2 stars. Everything was delicious, but they should have made more. 2 stars.
Right.
Like, I mean, most of it is 5, but still, like, you still get... Or like the person is like, oh, this not like I got, what did they say? I could find all these average pastries somewhere else. I'm like, where can you find this?
Yeah.
Where can you find trompe l'oeil? Tell me where you can find it. And then you can give me a 2-star rating. But you can't. You know what I mean? So it's just like, again, it's somebody else's opinion. And you can't really take it to heart. Or else you'll go down the black hole.
Yeah.
The worst is like Reddit. You know, that's the worst.
How about... That's crazy that that's a thing now. Because that wasn't a thing up until about 2 years ago.
I learned about Reddit after Top Chef.
Yeah.
We were like, all of the contestants would be like, oh my gosh, I see that shit on Reddit. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, so bad.
I mean, all of the Oakland shit is all over Reddit. You know, like everything that's ever happened in Oakland is on Reddit.
Like, I'll look at Tarts de Feybesse and you'll be like, what do you guys think of Tarts de Feybesse in Oakland? Thank God it's all good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
like 99% it's fine.
I feel like Reddit has more credit than Yelp, I will say. Like,
heard that, Chef.
Because people are, I feel like on Yelp are more likely to be negative, and people on Reddit just call it kind of how they see it. And it's not there's no
or
rating.
they see the
there's
news,
no rating
like they're
system.
they read the news.
Exactly. So it's like people on Reddit are usually about having a conversation.
Yes,
people on Yelp are about making a statement. And they don't want to hear anything else.
I do hear that. Yeah, you expect to be replied to on Reddit. Yes.
Whether or not it's like you're agreed upon.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's why I think I don't know. I kind of like it.
I like
tells you what's going on in the city.
I do read it. Yeah. I do read it. Now after Top Chef, I do read it. There's some funny shit on there. But it's all good. There's some
But it's like if you want to find really niche restaurants, that's where you go.
Yeah, for Reddit, for sure.
Yeah, because ain't Michelin and James Beard ain't gonna fucking list it. You know what I mean? It's just facts. Like the hole in the wall spots, things like that. Like
I know.
If you're not following the places on Instagram or certain food bloggers, that's the place.
I know, yeah.
Where you can ask the question, hey, where can I get a good Ethiopian next to
Oh,
Napa?
no, yeah. You definitely go on Reddit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Eater covers it sometimes. But.
Eater definitely does, but they definitely have a schedule to keep and a cadence of, whatever it is. And I think a lot of articles are just waiting in the wind and never get published.
Sure.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think there has to be a place where Eater dumps all of that. And I think that would be smart to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe not unaffiliated, but at least we get the story.
Okay.
You know? Because there's a lot of things that I know people have reported to Eater, we were working on this, and then they decided not to run it. And it's
then you can't. It's politics.
Yeah, it's all politics, and it's why we got to deal with this shit,
I know.
But Chef, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like with you, I could just talk forever.
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna do another episode. I need to have Paul on.
My God. If you have Paul on, you're going to be forever.
Let's go,
But
Chef.
he's so great.
I'm ready.
Paul's the greatest.
Yeah. He's the best.
You can't fake that French accent.
There's also a couple of badass couples in the history of our sport. Yeah. And you guys are one of them.
And Katiana.
Katiana and John.
Yeah. Killer people.
Chef Kim, who was the CC before.
Kim Alter?
No, not, I forget her last name. But she's
Floresca.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. She is dope.
Her and her husband. There's very few of that in our world.
It's because it's harder.
But when it happens, it's magical.
It's hard. And it's hard because you people say, keep your professional life at home. Keep your personal life at home.
Yeah. It's all mixed.
It's mixed.
Not when
you're doing this. Yeah, no, it's all mixed. It's all about compromise and keeping the boundaries. Exactly. I've done talks about this because you have to just keep the boundaries. You have to be because Paul and I can cook. We can cook for days. But there comes a point where you have to really think about who's doing what and not overstepping that person. Because at the end of the day, my cooking style is different than Paul's. And my visual is going to be different than Paul's. So it's all about compromise.
Right.
Just being like, okay, you handle it for the day and trusting it.
Yeah.
It's all about trust.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's badass, Chef.
Yeah, I know.
There's not a lot a lot of people that can do that, and I'm happy that you're talking about that because, we usually only wait till after horrible things happen and then we talk about it.
See how many divorces
That's what I'm saying. And I'm the same way. I'm 35 years old. I'm not married, and I'm like, is it going to happen for me? Because, if I don't, it's either it has to be someone outside the industry because I've already tried in the industry. I can't do it.
At least though. At least you know.
Yeah, at least I know. That's a good way of looking at it.
Or you make the decision in the beginning, like, hey, you just cut this and you just don't. Yeah, right? Like you stay there and I stay here, and that's the only way that it works.
I need a nurse or something. Same hours
and same pay.
Different, yeah.
Or actually better pay.
Exactly. And then when I go to this person, I'm like, someone didn't show up today. It's like, someone died today. And I'm like, yes,
actually,
chef.
I know a lot of chefs who are like that. They have a nurse and it's like perspective. It's like, we're not killing people.
Yeah, we're not.
You're actually helping people. Or I know this, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know this one chef whose wife is in the police academy.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it's like, okay, you don't do shit. She's just
badass.
You don't fucking do shit. You don't work the streets. You're doing nothing.
Yeah, like you're in the army. Yeah, when you're in the fucking kitchen. It's like,
brigade system. What is
relax,
that?
Okay?
Relax. You're not dealing with criminals.
Yeah, it's like
so funny.
who cooked these peas?
I know.
It's like, who shot these people?
And that's why, last point is just, we are doing something really serious, but come on, we're here to just make people have a good time.
Right.
I mean, like, it's not that serious, you know? Like,
we're blessed.
We're so blessed. We're doing what we love. Like, we travel for this. Like, you know, this is what we do. But like, we're not. That's why I don't try and tell my problems to people out of the industry, because at the end of the day, they don't care.
Yeah.
And they don't understand.
Yeah.
So why waste my time in trying to explain this to them?
Mm-hmm.
They're never gonna understand.
That's why I try to tell my young cooks, you know, when they get a little overly sensitive, and I'm like, look.
You mean burnt?
The guests don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
The guests don't care about how you feel. Mm-mm. All they want is a service, and they're going to pay you money for that service. And if you can provide the service, good for you.
Yeah.
But the second you fuck up, like, you can't get all sensy and start falling apart. Like, you need to stay strong for your cooks and for your workers and the next 6 months of business that you need to prove.
No,
you know?
for sure.
And so, you know, I had a cook the other day was like, oh, you know, it kind of made me a little sad when you said that. And it's like,
oh God,
it's not that I don't care, it's that I can't care about that.
Oh yeah, that's real shit.
We got to move fucking forward,
and
we got to do that in a positive way, as positive as we can be, and understand